going to show you how to work short row shaping using the wrap and turn method. The first thing that you need to do is knit to the point where you want to do your wrap and turn, and then just slip this stitch purlwise, bring the yarn in front, slip that stitch back, bring the yarn to the back, and now you've created your first wrap. That's the wrap part, then there's the turn part. So I'm just going to work a few purl stitches. Sorry, that one was on backwards. And then it's time to wrap and turn on the purl side. So I like to pull the yarn out of the way, slip that stitch purlwise, bring the yarn to the back, slip the stitch back. That's the wrap part. Now here's the turn part. Make sure that the yarn is in back for the next section. So I'm going to knit back to where I performed the wrap and turn before, so I can find that wrapped stitch. There's a bit of a gap here. And now I need to knit the wrap together with its stitch. So I'll insert into the wrap, then insert into the knit, and knit the two together. I'll knit a couple stitches and wrap and turn again. Turn back the other direction, and now I'm going to purl to the point where I had my wrapped stitch before, and I can kind of see this where there's this gap here. That's where I'm purling to. So with the purl, I find this one to be a bit trickier, and there are lots of different methods that I've seen for this, but my favorite method involves making sure that the purl stitch and its wrap are actually on the needle with their leading legs in back. So this is a bit finagly, and other methods won't show this, but this is my favorite method. It makes it as smooth as possible. So I've just kind of slipped that purl stitch off. I'm gonna let the wrap go. So I've got the wrap and the purl stitch, and then I'm going to put them onto this needle backwards so that their leading legs are in back. So then I'm going to purl two together through the back loop. This is like an SSP. And purl two together through the back loop, and then I'll purl two, wrap and turn, and then I'll show you what that looks like from the right side. So to me, this is the prettiest wrap and turn as done from the purl side. It looks the most invisible to me. So we'll do that one more time so that you can see on both sides what it looks like. And you can also see the point of short row shaping is to create more fabric in the middle. You can sort of see this divot in the middle there. That's the point of wrap and turn. Short row shaping is to create that extra fabric. So I've come to my wrapped stitch. I'll insert into the wrap, insert into the stitch, knit the two together, knit two, wrap and turn again. And I'm going to purl back to my previously wrapped stitch. I'll look and see where that is. I can see this big gap here. And then that's the wrapped stitch. So I will purl back to that stitch. And then I'll show you again my sort of finagly motion that I like to do. It involves making sure that the wrap and the stitch are with their leading legs in back. So I just slip the stitch to my right hand needle and then let it go so that I can get that wrap off of there. So now I have the wrap and I have the purl stitch. I'll put that on so that its leading leg is in back, slip that one, and now we see both have their leading legs in back. I insert into back of both of those and purl two together, just like an SSP. Purl two and wrap and turn. So you can see how that's nearly invisible. both the knit and the purl side. If you're working in the round, you'll eventually finish your short row shaping and go all the way round. So you'll complete an entire round, and then you'll come back to that final wrapped stitch. This would have been joined together on the wrong side, but now we're working in the round. So you'll come back to this one. And it's tempting to just go ahead and do the usual wrap and turn on that, or the usual joining of the two stitches, but I find that it doesn't look very good. So I like to do an SSK with these two instead, which means that you need to sort of separate them. So I'll insert into that wrap and kind of just like, I'm going from below and then placing it on the needle and then pulling out this, the stitch, and then making sure that it gets on so that its leading leg is in back. And then I'll SSK, sort of, or knit those two together through the back loop. So it's like going through the back loops. And then once I knit a few stitches, it looks a lot neater than it would have otherwise. This stitch looks a bit elongated to me. So if I was fussing with it, I would probably just move some of that yarn into the neighboring stitches in order to make it a little bit more uniform with the stitches next to it. But that's my favorite way of doing that final stitch, is sort of an SSK inserting through the back loop. So making sure that both stitches, both the stitch and the wrap are on the needle with their leading legs in back, and then working them together through the back loops.